Hey guys, welcome back to another video from Hit Wicket. Today we're just going to be talking a little bit about the Australian T20 World Cup squad. So to kick things off, what did you first want to discuss about the Australian side?
How do you think Finch and Warner will go at the top? They seem to both be sort of past their prime at the moment. Warner in a real struggle. Finch also in a struggle, actually, to be fair. How do you see them going in this tournament?
I think they'll have an okay tournament. I guess they're both a little bit on the downhill, so it's a bit hard to predict how they would go. Finch and Warner have proved themselves before, so this is a good opportunity for them to come out of the form slump they're both in. So a good opportunity for those players to stand up, but it is an ICC tournament, so if they're going to stand up, this is going to have to be the time that they do stand up. So yeah,
both of them are struggling actually David Warner's struggling right now in IPL UAE conditions. But yeah, moving down that order, I think Smith will probably be like 100%. He'll be batting at 3, and I think Mitchell Marsh actually has solidified himself as the number 4 now with his excellent form leading into this World Cup. So now thinking of those two, how do you think they'll go in this World Cup? How do you see them faring?
Well, Mitch Marsh has had a really good, I guess he falls a bit more into the all-rounder category, but yeah, he's been batting really well leading up to this tournament. So I hope to see that he does perform well. But yeah, he's been in pretty good form. He just got 100 the other day in the local one-day comp here in Australia. So he looks like he's in good touch at the moment. So yeah, I hope that he does go well, and I think he will do pretty well, because he stood up in the last couple of tours that Australia have gone on. So hopefully I think he'll do well, and Smith will just do Smith things. So yeah, he'll just accumulate and do his own thing, which I think will be fine. But yeah, Mitch Marsh has the power to accelerate if he needs to. But yeah, he's definitely one of the more informed batsmen in Australia at the moment.
Yeah, I think he'll have a good tournament, especially leading towards this. He's having an excellent limited overs setup. Smith, on the other hand, hasn't had too much limited overs practice. He's had a lot of test match practice, but we'll see how he goes. Then after that, we have the finishers, and obviously Maxwell. Probably Wade will be keeping. I think they'll stick with him for the beginning at least. Maybe Inglis will come in later, and probably Agar at 7. Maybe Stoinis will come in for someone in there. But what do you think of those finishers? I like the look of Maxwell there, but the rest I'm not too sure. Wade and Agar.
Yeah, I mean, Wade, again, his form has been okay, so yeah, I'm not really expecting a lot from him, but I guess you just never know. I was a bit questioning like his place in the team, but I think he's going to be keeping, I think. So yeah, Stoinis, again, I think the top order suits him better, although he does finish for Australia. But yeah, I think he will, he'll probably have the odd knock here and there, but I feel like Stoinis' consistency is still a little bit scrambled at international level. Similar to Maxwell to an extent, but Maxwell has been a little bit more consistent of late for Australia in particular. So yeah, I guess it is really going to be important really for Maxwell, for Australia, for Maxwell to do well on the back end. He can't just be going his wicket around. He actually has to, make sure that he gets the 20 off 10 balls sort of thing to finish off innings. So yeah, it's been pretty important for Australia.
Say worst scenarios, Maxwell gets out early. Can you see the likes of Wade, Stoinis, Agar, and the bowlers getting say 40 off 20 balls?
It would be tough. It would depend a lot on Wade and it would depend a lot on Wade and Stoinis, I would say. If they're in this side, I think Agar he can get around a ball. He can get the odd boundary away. Yeah, and the bowlers, it's a bit of a mixed bag. It's going to be tough to try and get 40 out of them off 20 balls. They can all lift a bat, but trying to hit it at a good strike rate is not easy. So it will be tricky.
What do you think of? I mean, Australia's pace stocks it's been the same for quite a while now.
Pace attack is
the
pace attack is going to be probably our strongest, Australia's strongest suit. Obviously with Cummings, Hazelwood, Stark, I think Hazel's been playing pretty well. Cummings usually relatively consistent. Yeah, and Stark is obviously one of the better. His best format is white ball cricket,
and his best thing is World Cups.
Yeah, exactly. He performs in the ICC tournaments, so I think those three are key. Zampa's going to be important with spinner. Obviously, I think Agar as well is going to be important as well in the UAE. So interesting to see what sort of dynamics they go with. If they go with a spinner, 2 spinners, 3 seamers, and an all-rounder. Like, it'll be interesting the dynamic they go for. It is going to be tricky. It's not going to be straightforward because the wickets there are probably a little bit more slower and lower. So yeah.
Yeah, I think Stark had a really rejuvenating tour on that West Indies. He started to bowl like it was a bit of old Stark was back. I think he had a lean run before that with the ball. Then obviously, the final thing is the spinners. How do you think they'll fare in the UAE with the likes of Zampa, Agar, Swepson, and maybe a little bit of Maxwell here and there, a bit of a golden arm?
I think Zampa and Agar are going to be really important. I'm not sure if they'll play both of them in the same games or not. But Agar's been playing relatively good in limited overs. He's been accurate and a good container. And Zampa has been a wicket taker, but he has been getting a bit of tap recently in the last few tours. So I think Australia might edge towards Agar, using Agar more because he can support the batting a little bit more. But Zampa's going to be equally as effective if there is a little bit of turn, because he bowls quite stump to stump, so he can get you the quick 2 or 3 for even in a 4-over spell. And he has been a consistent performer for Australia in the last X amount of years now. But yeah, I think the spinners will go. I think they'll go good. We probably don't have a mystery spinner like Rashid Khan or something, but I think they'll still perform consistently enough. So we just have to see what sort of conditions they present over than UAE. They probably will turn a little bit. So
yeah, I mean, in saying that, you probably think it would turn a little bit, but he hasn't really been watching IPL because I'm a big fan of it. But I've been watching like at least the highlights and stuff, and surprisingly, the commentators are noting this as well, that it's not really turning. It's just getting straight on. It's not turning at all. And I mean, they're going to be roads, so it's not going to really turn at all to begin with.
So probably they're going to go one spinner, 4-seamer sort of thing, or whatever, like your 4-seam options. So I think if that's the case, they might go with Agar then. So yeah, either way, I think it should be okay in terms of the spinning department. Like, it's not the best that's out there, but it'll hopefully do a job in containing.
What's our first XI? I think Warner, Finch will open, of course. Smith, Mitchell Marsh, Maxwell. 6. Well, Wade has to be there because he's any keeper. 7. Do you go Agar or Stoinis? I'm not sure.
Ooh, it's tough. It's tough. I think if it's not, I mean, you really could go with either.
And then that means you share 4 overs between Maxwell, Mitch Marsh, and Stoinis.
Yeah.
I think if it's UAE, there's Sharjah and a couple of others. One of them is spinning a bit more. I can't remember which one, but I think if it's spinning conditions, you go with Agar. If not, then Stoinis. And then obviously Cummins, Hazelwood, Stark. Those 3 are pretty much confirmed. And the number 11 will be Zampa actually. Either way, I think Zampa has to play.
I think so. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's probably the best lineup that they have with the squad that they're presented. So, hopefully, I'm not sure if they'll be able to get deep in the tournament, but that's probably the best 11 that you can produce from the squad that they've provided. So,
and of course, leading into that, how far do you think they'll go in the tournament?
I think, like, if they make like the semis, they'll probably get knocked out in the semis, I think. But even then, there's some good teams out there. I'm not sure if Australia will be able to make it to the semis. There's good T20 teams out there. England obviously pretty strong, India pretty strong.
West Indies,
Pakistan randomly does whatever they want. West Indies have been playing some good limited overs cricket, so you just never know.
For me, I don't think they'll get through to the semis. There's a lot of like people past their prime in this side at the moment, and doesn't looks a bit shaky up there. The batsmen, and I think they'll need to score big runs on these road conditions if there are roads. If we see a roads,
Okay, well, I guess we'll wrap it up there. Keep a lookout for some of our other videos, and until next time, see you guys later.